Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today we're checking out one of the most recent releases from Vosteed. Vosteed reached out to me and said, hey, would you want to check out this knife? Would you want to check out the Mini Labrador? And of course, I had to say yes, because let's face it, Vosteed is one of the most exciting knife companies to check knives out from these days. They've come out with some great designs, some crazy designs. They try new things, but most importantly, I believe that they've actually cracked the code. And I honestly think that this is one of the best values that you can currently get for quality materials this year. I'm actually quite excited about this because this reflects a shift from knife makers and knife manufacturers to offering more value. In a world where everything just seems to be getting more expensive, some companies are going the opposite direction and finding ways to bring you knives at a more affordable value while still retaining the high quality materials. Speaking of value and materials, this is not a huge knife. This is actually going to be one of the smaller knives that they have available. It's about 6 1/4 inches overall with a 2 3/4 inch 14C28N blade, which has been heat treated to 60 to 62 HRC. The handle scales are titanium. It features a 3D milled titanium backspacer, 3D milled titanium pocket clip, T8 pivot, and T6 body screw. We only have one body screw, and that's pretty cool to see. Very minimal hardware, and it has a single-sided captive pivot running on ceramic bearings. You can get this model in either the silver raw finish or in this black stonewash finish, and personally I really like this black stonewash finish. It only has one deployment option, and that is going to be a flipper tab, which is very responsive. You can push button this flipper all day long. You can light switch it. The action feels really good. It's a frame lock, and the lockup on here is going to be coming in right there at about 40%, meaning that the lockup is quite good. It's actually very solid. There is no movement or play up or down, left or right, which is good to see. Blade centering is going to be smack dab in the middle, so it passes the QC check with flying colors. Now, every time I make a video on a knife that is big, people tell me, oh, it's too big, I need something smaller. And every time I make a video on something smaller, people tell me, Rolls, I need it to be bigger. And, and the cycle continues. But I actually do think that this is a great carry option for a multitude of people who might not actually realize why. And I wanted to talk about that. First of all, this knife fits perfectly in the fifth pocket of your jeans, which means that you sacrifice absolutely nothing to carry it. But most importantly, even though this is titanium with 14C and you have titanium milled pocket clip and titanium backspacer, you're only going to spend $69 to make it happen. Vosteed has cracked the code. This is really, really good value. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of the Kubi titanium Titius. That knife has the same level of materials, but it costs about $30 more. So coming in at $70 or just shy of, this is really, really good as far as value is concerned. The next person I think that this would be a perfect knife for would be someone who is new to the hobby. If you're looking for a knife to gift someone that's, for one, not going to break the bank, but also provide that premium look and feel experience with great materials that you know and trust, this is going to be a great option because it's going to have all of the markings of premium knife without costing what you would typically pay for a knife in titanium and 14C. I'm really enjoying the pocket clip. It's a simple pocket clip, but it works rather well. It has good retention, but it's not too stiff. You can still bend that up. And if you do need some extra grip, you can, of course, put a lanyard on here. Now, if you have large sized hands, you probably could get a full 4-finger grip on here. I hesitate to call it a 3-finger grip just because on 3 fingers, I do have some still sticking out. So yeah, I can get a pretty confident grip on here. And if you don't need a super large knife, this will probably probably do the trick for you just fine. It's easy to look at this and say, well, it's a good simple design, and it really is. It has thin blade geometry, which is going to lend to a nice and slicey edge, and the perfect thing about 14C is because it's very tough, you can actually lay that bevel back and make it even more slicey without necessarily affecting the stability of that edge. In a perfect world, I would say I have absolutely no issues with this knife, but it's not a perfect world and it's not a perfect knife. There are two small things that I would change on this piece specifically. The first would be I'd like to see a bit more distance between the plunge and the termination of that edge. I do believe that it's close enough where if you go to sharpen this, you might actually get a little bit of a smile. It's not going to be huge, but it might also be there. And then the second thing is just on the hardware front. I would love to see T8 body screws on here. I get it, it's a smaller knife, so T6 makes sense in a lot of ways, but I don't think that we would sacrifice much by switching to a T8 body screw to complement the T8 pivot screw. Ultimately, this is a knife that's going to work well for a lot of people, especially those who want a nice, sleek, slim, simple, gentleman type carry. This is going to fit in your pocket no matter what, and it's going to be a sensible carry for those scenarios where maybe you don't need to be carrying around your cold steel Espada XL. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Are you excited like I am to start seeing quality materials like titanium and 60 to 62 Rockwell 14C at this price point? I know that I am, and I sure hope that this isn't the last we see of this combination from Vosteed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And by the way, guys, if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, click on one of the videos that pops up next.